Mitsubishi Starion. The Mitsubishi Starion is a two-door turbocharged four-cylinder rear-wheel drive four-seat hatchback sports car manufactured and marketed by Mitsubishi from 1982–1989 with badge-engineered variants marketed in North America as the Conquest under the Chrysler, Dodge, and Plymouth brands. The Starion was one of the first modern Japanese turbocharged performance automobiles with electronic fuel injection, following the earlier Isuzu 117 Coupe. Overview. Mitsubishi began marketing the Starion in 1982, during a period in which a number of Japanese Grand Tour GT sports cars were available, including the Nissan Z cars, Mazda RX-7, Toyota Supra, and to a lesser extent, the Honda Prelude, Isuzu Paiza, and Subaru XT. The Starion was marketed in the U.S. as the Mitsubishi Starion, and badge-engineered variants of it were marketed as the Dodge, Plymouth, and Chrysler Conquest. In the UK it was sold as the Colt Starion. It was manufactured in two body configurations, a narrow body and wide body. The narrower style complied with Japanese exterior dimension regulations taxing larger vehicles and engine displacement exceeding 2 liters. Only the narrow body was offered through the 1985.5 model year. The introduction of the wide body also split the car into two ranges, a non-intercooled lower horsepower car using the narrow body style, and a high-performance intercooled wide body. In most markets, wide-body cars were given the label of Starion ESI or Conquest SI. Markets that never received the wide-body had the ESIR label. These cars had similar performance as the wide bodies. Wide-body cars were offered in 1986–1989 model years in the U.S. The Starion was the featured vehicle in the 1984 movie Cannonball Run Roman II. Name. Mitsubishi says Starion is a contraction of Star of Arion and refers to both a star and the mythical horse, Arion. The cover of the original Japanese Starion sales brochure, published by Mitsubishi May 1982, carried the text, "The name Starion derived from the combination of star and Arion, Hercules' horse in Greek mythology, symbolizes a sense of the universe and of power and high performance." Several sources attribute the name to struggles by Japanese engineers to pronounce the word stallion. An early Japanese television commercial for the Starion closed with a logo of a stallion's head with the word Starion below it. One translation of the voiceover says the name refers to a star and the mythical horse, Arion. The Mitsubishi Colt and Mitsubishi Eclipse featured equine names, with the Eclipse named after the champion race horse. Design. The Starion uses a traditional front-mounted engine with rear-wheel drive layout. Many came with a limited slip differential and anti-lock brakes single-channel, rear wheels only as standard features. The entire chassis was derived from the previous high-performance variant of the Mitsubishi Sapporo or Mitsubishi Galant Lambda Sports Coupe, with a MacPherson strut suspension and sway bars that were fitted to the front and rear. Rack and pinion steering was not offered, instead gearbox steering was standard on all models. Engine capacity differed between markets. American customers received the larger Soak Astron G54B 2.6L engine. Most markets received the Soak 2.0L Series G63B engine, subsequently featured in Doke form in later Mitsubishi sport compacts such as the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution. Both the 2.0L and the 2.6L produced roughly the same horsepower. The larger 2.6L did have a slight torque advantage, and the 2.0L had a higher red line. Reporters of the time considered the 2.0L to be peaky and exciting, while the American market 2.6L had plenty of torque, but was less rewarding. Both engines featured computer-controlled fuel injection and turbocharging. After 1987, European Starion models were also fitted with the 2.6L engine, as was the GSR VR for Japan. The move to the 2.6 L in all markets was spurred by emissions restrictions around the world tightening to meet the American standards for lead-in fuels. Reviews during the change were negative, as many felt the car was slower for most of these markets. This was the case as the engine change also coincided with a move to the heavier body style. From 1984 until 1987 in Japan, a 12-valve 2-intake, 1 exhaust soak intercooled version of the 2.0 LG63B was made available in the top-spec GSR-V and some GSR-VR trim grade Starions. This setup was known as the dual-action superhead or dash for short due to its ability to activate the third intake valve above a certain RPM, thereby increasing top-end response, flow and overall engine performance. Redline was increased to 7,000 RPM on these models. Horsepower varied between 150-197 HP, 112-147 kW, 152-200 PS, depending mostly upon the turbocharger that was fitted, the presence of an intercooler, and whether the 8-valve or 12-valve head was used. A naturally aspirated version known as the GX was offered in the Japanese market, with production ending in 1983. The Starion GX was offered without power windows, air conditioning, independent rear suspension, fuel injection, or power-assisted steering. Seating was a 2+2 with rear seats unsuitable for large adults. The front seats were adjustable for lumbar, angle, knee support position, and featured variable angle side braces. Front seat belts were located in the doors for the driver and front passenger. 1987 and later American models featured electrically operated seat belts. Newer models also featured power windows that remained powered up to 30 seconds after the engine was turned off. In Japan, some of the early cars built still featured fender-mounted mirrors in the traditional Japanese style. A 5-speed manual transmission was standard in most models, however, an automatic transmission was sold as an option in some markets. Later upgrades to the model included an intercooler, 5 lug wheels replacing the 4 bolt wheels it had shared with the rear-wheel drive Mitsubishi Galant Lambda, rear powertrain changes from 4 to 6 bolt axles, various fuel management upgrades and upgrades to the transmission. Towards the end of the model's U.S. run, a wide body could be bought with a sports handling package or SHB. This included adjustable front and rear struts and 1-inch wider wheels from 16x7 to 16x8 front and 16x8 to 16x9 rear. The SHB was only offered during the 88 and 89 model years. The package can be retrofitted to earlier pre-wide-body cars but include converting to 5 lug hubs from the 4 lug hubs. The drag coefficient was around 0.32, superior to the Mazda RX-7 and the Nissan 300ZX upon its release. Notable upgrades included multi-port injection MPI consisting of standalone engine management programmable computers to control individual fuel injectors, 1 per cylinder versus the stock PCI ECM2 injector system. 2 injector systems, primary idle injector and secondary boost injector, non-sequential firing 83-86 and sequential firing 87-89. Production. These figures are both cars. Total all styles, 1986, 19,400, 1987, 17,605, 1988, 10,655, 1989, 1961. Figures courtesy of Mitsubishi Japan. Models. Models. A number of models existed throughout the world during 1982. Japan. 2.0 LG63B engine, apart from GSR VR, which has 2.6 LG54B. The Japanese domestic market had a large range of Starions to choose from. GX 1982-1983 live rear axle, non-turbo 110 PS 81 kW 108 HP engine. GSR-I, GSR Roman II, GSR Roman III, GSR X 1982-1984 turbocharged, The earliest models were non-intercooled 145 PS 107 kW 143 HP. Intercooler versions had 175 PS 129 kW 173 HP. GSR Roman II, GSR Roman III, GSR X 1984-1987 midlife refresh can be distinguished from the earlier Starions by large fog lights in the front bumper. GSR-V 1984-1987, all equipped with 12-valve Sirius engine 200 PS 147 kW 197 HP and 5-bolt wheels. GSR-VR 1987-1989 wide body, equipped with the 2.6 L S-tron engine 175 PS 129 kW 173 HP. A small number of wide-bodies, approx. 73, were produced with the Sirius Dash as a limited edition model known as 2000 GSR-VR. The Roman numeral after GSR denotes the vehicle specification. Some examples can be found below. GSR-I base model, GSR Roman II power steering and electric windows, optional digital dash cluster and trip computer. GSR Roman III improved audio system, trip computer system, digital dash cluster, and air conditioning. GSR-X leather interior replaced the cloth, climate control, air conditioning, cruise control. Australia 2.0 LG63B engine. Australian vehicles were mostly similar to the European turbo specification. The J codes below denote the model version and are found on the Australian vehicle information plates. YA 1982-1984, JB 1984-1985, JD 1985-1987. North America. It was marketed in North America by Mitsubishi as the Starion from 1983 until 1989. It was also sold as a captive import by Chrysler as the Conquest, under both the Dodge and Plymouth names from 1984 to 1986 and only under the Chrysler name from 1987 until 1989. For model year 1987, the Conquest featured front occupant passive belts. The Conquest used the 2.6 LG54B engine with TD5-12 MHI turbocharger. The TC5-12, a Mitsubishi Heavy Industries turbocharger, was fitted to the earlier, non-intercooled narrow-body models, producing 145 HP 108 kW. Mitsubishi Base 1983, LS 1983-85, LN 1984-87, ES 1984-85, ESI 1985.5-1988, intercooled. ESI are wide-body only 1986-89, intercooled Chrysler/Dodge/Plymouth. TSI wide-body 1986-89, intercooled. Technica. This was a narrow-body package without intercooler verified by *** MCA Chrysler Motorsports of America 10/1. Europe 2.0 LG63B engine with MHITC 6-11, a turbocharger, apart from GSR-VR, which has 2.6 LG54B engine with TD5-12, a turbocharger. EX Roman II flat body with intercooler. EX luxury version. Turbo base model. With the exception of Australia, many models were available as either narrow body or wide body shell styles. Motorsports. The Starion was a prominent competitor in motorsports up to international level during the 1980s and performed well on the circuit in group and races of the era. Andy McLennan driving a Simmons Drums-sponsored Starion was very successful, picking up many race wins and a Monroe Championship. This against the semi-works car of Colin Blower. In the Netherlands, John Hugenholtz won the over 2L class in the Dutch Championship with the Colin Blower-prepared Mitsubishi dealer's car. In the United States, the Starion became best known for successes in endurance racing. Starions from Dave Wallen's Team Mitsubishi, with turbocharged 2.6 LG54B engines built by noted Lotus engine guru Dave Weger, captured the prestigious longest day of Nelson Ledge's 24-hour endurance race 4 years running from 1984 through 1987. Team Mitsubishi Starions also won the Sports Car Club of America SCCA U.S. Endurance Championships 3 of those 4 years. Competing against the fully factory-backed Wallen's team was only partially sponsored by Mitsubishi efforts from Chrysler, Audi, Nissan, and Mazda. Although not commonly seen in modern motorsports, a number are still raced on both circuit and in special stage rally events, usually by privateers. Starion 4WD. The Starion was not very successful off-road, but found victory in Group A World Rally Championships and Asia-Pacific Rally Championships during 1987 and 1988. An all-wheel drive version of the Starion was also produced for Group B specifications, one of the few Japanese automobile manufacturers to enter this class, but after an encouraging start as a prototype, it was not homologated before the FIA banned Group B cars for safety reasons. The Starion was converted to all-wheel drive by adding a strengthened transfer case from a Pajero behind the transmission. This configuration allowed the engine to be situated well back in the chassis for improved front/rear weight distribution compared to the Audi Quattro, whose configuration required the engine to be far forward in the car. Although the wheelbase did not change, the use of regular headlights rather than the production model's pop-up headlights allowed the nose to be 6 inches shorter, as well as saving several pounds in weight. Further weight was saved by the use of carbon fiber for the drive shafts, sump guard, and lower arms of the suspension, and fiberglass for the hood, bonnet, tailgate, door skins, fenders, bumpers, and spoilers, resulting in a final weight of less than 1,000 kg, 2,200 lb, lighter than the Audi Quattro. The car was developed with a turbocharged and intercooled version of Mitsubishi's 2.0L fuel-injected engine, but the final goal was to use a turbocharged and intercooled 261 kW 355 PS 350 HP version of the Sirius Dash engine that Mitsubishi announced at the 1983 Tokyo Motor Show. The car was campaigned for Mitsubishi by Team Ralliart in Essex, Great Britain, under rally veteran Andrew Cowan and engineer Alan Wilkinson, who had developed the Audi Quattro for Audi Sport UK. Major results: circuit. International. 1984 SCCA Nelson Ledge's 24-hour race first. 1984 SCCA Playboy Endurance Championship first. 1984 Silverstone Finale first. 1984 Australian Super Series first and second outright Peter Fitzgerald and Brad Jones. 1985 British Saloon Car Championship second in championship. 1985 James Hardy 1009th outright. Second in class Kevin Bartlett and Peter McKay. Peter McKay. 1985 Australian Manufacturers Championship 7th, 1985 Gear Race in Macau Grand Prix 3rd, 1985 Gear Race in Macau Grand Prix 4th, 1985 SCCA Nelson Ledge's 24-hour race first, despite heavy rollover crash damage. 1985 SCCA Playboy Endurance Championship first, 1986 SCCA Escort Endurance Championship second, 1986 SCCA Nelson Ledge's 24-hour race first, 1986 SCCA Showroom Stock a National Championship first, 1986 Winton 300 Group E Series Production Cars first. Des Gibbs and Dennis O'Brien Starions filled top 6 positions. 1986 Dutch National Touring Car Championship first, FIP first. 1987 SCCA/Escort Endurance Championship first, SHIP first. 1987 SCCA Nelson Ledge's 24-hour race first. 1987 Australian Production Car Championship first Peter Fitzgerald. 1987 James Hardy 1005th outright Gary Scott and Hihiko Nakaya. 1988 SCCA Showroom Stock National Championship 1st. 1988 Australian Manufacturers Championship 8. 1988 Oran Park 253rd Outright Gary Scott and Terry Shield. 1988 to his 1010th Outright Terry Shield and Brad Jones. 1990 SCCA Showroom Stock National Championship 1st. Japan. 1985 Inter-TC Japanese Touring Car Championship JTC 4th. 1986 Sugo Group a 300 km race JTC 3rd. 1986 raced in Nippon Tsukuba JTC 1st. 1986 Suzuka 300 km race JTC 2nd. 1986 All Japan Touring Car Championship 2nd in Championship. 1987 All Japan Touring Car Race JTC 1st. 1987 G. Hilland Touring Car 300 km Race JTC 1st. 1987 All Japan Touring Car Championship 3rd in Championship. 1988 Hilland Touring Car 300 km Race JTC 2nd. Major Results Rally. Starion 4WD 1984-1986. 1983 Paris-Dakar Rally 1st in Experimental Class. 1984 Mills Piste Rally French Rally Championship 1st in Prototype category. 1986 Hong Kong Beijing Rally 2nd. 1987 Qatar Rally Middle East Rally. 1987 Himalayan Rally 1st. 1987 Oman Rally Middle East Rally Championship 3rd. 1988 Scottish Rally British Rally Championship. 1988 British Open Rally Championship Cartel International Rally 1st Penty Irikala / Ronan McName